Hello and welcome to Mr. Davis's classroom. This is Algebra 1 and today we're working on 8-4 Part 2. We covered Part 1 earlier and we talked about shortcut ways instead of FOIL when we have squares. We're going to be talking about other patterns today that you can see and use shortcuts on. Okay, the first one is when we have the same numbers but they have opposite signs. Okay, so one's a plus, one's a minus. Right, which is different than a binomial squared because that was the exact same. But these ones have different signs. So they're a little bit different but really similar. And what happens when we FOIL, this middle term looks like that. Minus AB plus BA. And those two terms will cancel each other out or make 0. Thus, leaving us with no middle term, and all we have is the first term squared, second term squared, and always a minus sign in between. Right? So here we have a couple examples down here. Let's look at this one here. We have x plus 2 times x minus 2. Well, what we get is we get first term squared, second term squared with a minus sign in between. And over here they just wrote it with that 2 squared as an actual number. So let's try a couple and then see how that works. All right, so what's the simple form of this? Well, I notice that they are the exact same numbers, except for there's a plus sign and a minus sign. Okay? I think I'll do this with FOIL first, and then we'll use the shortcut. Okay? Now again, just like last lesson, if you like FOIL more and these shortcuts are confusing you, FOIL will work every time, and I will not mark you down for using FOIL instead. All right, so FOIL first. X cubed times x cubed is x to the 6th. X cubed times negative 8 is negative 8x cubed. 8 times x cubed is plus 8x cubed. And 8 times 8 is 64, and there's one minus sign. So 1 minus sign, 64. Now if we look at these two terms right there, we get negative 8x cubed plus 8x cubed, which makes 0, so those cancel each other out, leaving me with x to the 6th minus 64. Now we'll use the shortcut, right, which is recognizing a pattern. Shortcut way. Let me write it out. X cubed plus 8, x cubed minus 8. So shortcut way is first term squared. Well, that's this term right here. So x to the 3rd squared, or x to the 6th. Then we're going to use second term squared as 64. And there is always, always, always a minus sign in between them. All right? Did these two come out looking the same? Sure did. Okay. Here are 3 for you to try. Please choose whether you want to use FOIL method or the pattern, right? Seeing the pattern using shortcut method. Okay? All right, here's another mental math problem for us to try. We have 64 plus 56, and we should notice a pattern here, or those two numbers are related in a certain way. And the way they're related is they're both 4 away from 60, right? 64 is 4 above, 56 is 4 below. So I could rewrite this as 60 plus 4, 60 minus 4, where 60 plus 4 is 64 and 60 minus 4 is 56. So what we really have the same exact problem. The only difference is we changed the way it looked a little bit. All right. Now, since it's a difference, since we have the same numbers, but with different signs, I know that the answer to this is going to be first term squared, or 60 squared, which is 6 times 6 is 36. I have 1, 2 zeros. There we go. 3,600. Minus, I always know there's going to be a minus sign, times the second term squared, or 4 squared, which is 16. 3,600 minus 16 is 3,584. All right. Since this is a gridded response question, I'm going to write it in over here. We have 3584 blocking my bubbles. 84, there we go. And we have answered it and graded the response. Now, again, just like the other mental method we did last time, right, this is something that I think some of us could do without writing anything down, which is nice. However, there's some of us that need to write those numbers down so we don't, lose them in our minds and stuff like that. And that's fine too. This is a way that you guys could do some multiplication without having to, find a calculator or something like that. All right, here's one for you to try. Please try to use it with only mental math. If you need to jot down some numbers, that's fine too. Here's your homework. Just a reminder that the mid-chapter quiz is going to be next, so make sure you're prepared for that. Thank you for visiting Mr. Davis's classroom, and I hope you enjoyed.